Yeah. I honestly, if we're all honest, right? The only crossover we all want, right? It's the only crossover we want. It's the only crossover that can possibly happen is the crossover because Doctor Who is now partially somehow controlled by Disney, and we just want that Star Wars and that Doctor Who crossover. I never knew I wanted it until someone like gave like some fan made thing on it, and I'm like,
Oh man.
okay, I want this.
See, like
I'm down with
there's a
this.
there's a bunch of things that could easily be cool to happen if the companies would just allow it.
Yeah, but
Because that Doctor Who Star Wars one would be amazing
mhm.
when they end up meeting Spock or Picard.
They still have enough trouble now just trying to get Fox and Sony
True.
to play nice with each other,
Yeah,
MCU and Sony.
true.
Well, I mean,
Anyways,
Sony saw the dollar signs and they were
yeah,
like, "But we want all the dollar signs."
exactly.
We'll let you keep doing. Let you keep doing Spider-Man, but we want half of everything you ever make.
Yep.
Wait a minute.
All right. Well, anyways, if that red light is to be believed, we are live. We've been live for like the last probably for like the last minute and a half. So this is what we usually talk about in the behind the scenes. If you ever wonder, like, if you get all these nerds together and what the heck we're doing, we're still just talking about nerd stuff in the background. So if you really wonder, like, what the heck we're talking about, it's just this stuff. So everybody, welcome to an exciting new episode of Low Key on the We Libertarians Network here on our special Halloween edition. I know, woo! I bet you guys thought we were going to take this Monday off. Do we look like Chris Spangle to you? Heck no. All right. When we say consistency, we mean it, okay? Oh, that's good. That's good. I made some because I didn't go out trick or treating. I sat at home and made some really good apple cider. But since I do not fly alone, I make sure I bring some wingmen with me. And tonight's episode, I've got Reinhold. Reinhold, you go say hello.
Hello, how's everybody doing? Happy Halloween. Hope everybody's having a spooky October and just having a good time in their lives.
All right. Yeah. Yes. Did you pass out a lot of candy today?
No, we live in the country. We don't do that sort of thing out here.
Okay.
I have 4 neighbors. None of them have kids. It's not anything that's going to happen.
Oh. So, you guys don't just dress up and play make believe?
Nah, not really. I do enough of that every day. Just trying to make believe that I actually know what I'm doing with my job and showing up and working.
And that chuckles as you hear behind there, that is we got Vincent. Vincent, when you go say hello.
Hello. It is Halloween. A holiday that is become much less prevalent in my life.
Future gear haver Abacabrosa came cause live staying for probably big titty golf. I don't, no, sorry.
We actually sold out of that about 5 minutes before the stream went live. Unfortunately,
sorry about that. Mm-hmm. So maybe you know what? I'll send Miranda an invite, see if she wants to come. Did you get a lot?
It always comes. It always comes to this. Like, here we go. Let me start.
Insta ban on YouTube. Oh, man, first time my niece ever flagged someone. I'm flagging that. That's flag.
And that guy.
First report. But so, Vince, did you get any trick or treaters?
Nope. I got home probably about 7 o'clock from work, and it was dark and rainy, and everybody's like, "Nah, screw that. I'm good." Okay. But I did buy candy just in case, and the candy I'm not going to eat, I'm going to pawn off on my coworkers because it's easier that way.
There you go. Just put it in a dish bump around you, so everyone who tries to lose weight, just leave your desk alone because they can't help themselves. They'll just reach into the dish. It's better this way. Well, unlike you two, I actually did get a bunch of trick or treaters. It was It was like a ebb and flow. So like we had like a one big massive group, and then it kind of died down, and then it kept just coming in like every like hour, and then it got late, and then that's when the older kids started coming. And it was like 8:45. You know, you could tell like this is like the last group of teenagers. So I just took my pole and get out of here. Shoot kids, shoot kids.
Leave me alone.
I know. You know, I'm excited. I got some trick or treaters. I'm just I wish as more trick or treaters I've ever gotten was this year, being out here in the small town, versus in the city. Because like in the city, like I had such few trick or treaters every year that's how everyone's like. When I tell everyone like I was a legend one year and passed out king size candy bars because it's going to be like one, two big groups, you know, probably like 30 kids tops. So 30 king size candy bars is not a bad stretch to get.
Back when king size mattered and it wasn't just share size, which is a bunch of tiny pieces all together.
Yeah, we're talking about like the true king size. Not now. Speaking of those, have you ever seen the slice and share size that come up for Christmas?
Oh, those massive ones that are ridiculous.
Yep.
Yeah. Actually, when I was in Bloomington, there was one point where the place I worked was right next to a gas station, and the guy who ran the gas station used to work at where I worked at. So all the employees I worked with knew him. So we ended up going there at the end of our 6 a.m. shifts when we get off at 6 a.m. And then I bought the foot-long box of Twix. And it's just like, all right, cool. Just started passing out Twix, and we ate Twix for like a week and a half at work.
Well, I did have taken the slice and share size York peppermint patty and just jumped into like a bubble bath and just sat there and ate the whole York peppermint patty. You know, all right. I had a blast. It was fun. Okay. All right.
It was fun.
All right. All right. I want you to know I really did send a stream invite to Miranda. I don't know if she's actually going to jump in, but
It's fine.
It'll be fun. If she jumps in and it just teases niece because we didn't send him it.
We didn't send him an invite.
I know. He's just going to sit there and, and seethe, cope and seethe. Anyways, well, yeah. See, like, and well, this year, like I gave out so much candy, and then like someone this year, right, like at effing Legend, also in my neighborhood, someone was giving out potato chip, like this, potato chip bags. But I just like, you know what, that's awesome because yeah, you just like toss them in, and then like most kids are probably going to which I wish I knew what parent did that or someone who did that because high five them because like it's the easy go-to snack. It's my emergency snack I use for my daughter for school because they get to pack lunch and give them a snack, which I don't remember getting a snack. Apparently they get snacks now. I have to stop and get snacks. So you got to pack a snack every day. And my daughter, when I first started, I got I will say, like when the school year first started, I was kind of over,
doing it.
Oh, I was overdoing everything in the first year. I made a really neat bento box of shapes and things, and I took the walk out and made her fresh popcorn. And then she broke my heart and goes, "Dad, I want to eat the school lunch with my friends." But I made you a bento box. I made you a bento. Look, it's a little frog and everything. It's cool. I want to eat the walking taco Fritos. I was like, but and they give out chocolate milk. You give me water. I'm like, it's water. I love water. Chocolate milk. So dashed my dreams of sitting at home, waking up early in the morning, making my daughter her food for the day. Let's see. This goes, happy Halloween days. My schedule today actually allows me to be fully awake when Question is live. Yeah. Oh, thanks. Oh,
Hey.
Good.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah.
I call you out on your weebness, which is fair.
Yep. That Bro, shout out to the teenagers on Halloween who are now probably blackout drunk at a cornfield about right now. But most cornfields have been harvested by now. And if they had and if they haven't been harvested right now, it's going to be way too wet. That's never going to dry out. It is just
Too late. They lost
Yeah.
the money.
Cellulose, unused cellulose.
Everybody around me got theirs out of the field about a week and a half ago.
Yep. Daughter calls you a weeb, demand cash for cafe. Okay, all right. That's the other thing. When some people was like, honestly, like I tell everyone, like you can go and spend all this money for a like advanced degree for something like this, or you can just buy your kid a combine and just sit around farms. It will pay for itself before your degree ever will. You don't even need the farmland. You just need to put your combine up for rent and be available at a moment's notice, because it'll be dry. They need a harvest, and you can pick up a phone call and be there. Heck yeah, you're just go.
That's fair.
Make it bank. Look at Reinhold goes like, yeah, I failed. I could have just did all this computer stuff. I could just had this combine sitting in my backyard this entire time. Reinhold's probably passed up 2 combines at auctions. So like, I'm good. I'm gonna stick with this computer thing.
I had my neighbor offer me his truck he was trading in, or his tractor he was trading in. It's a really nice one. And I was like, so I wonder how much it is. So I asked him how much he was asking for it, and I was like, yeah, that's more than my house. So you can just move on. I'll see you later. That was trade-in value.
Yeah, it's a business. Their business,
Oh yeah.
That's what
when I was growing up. When I was growing up, we had a guy who was a bus driver, because the bus driver and farming worked really good hand in hand at the time, because you would go to schools late enough in the year that they would be basically off work from the farming stuff, and then you're done, and then farming starts up again. And he would buy a new Corvette every year.
Oof. Yeah. That's what like some people like. I think that's one thing that some people, when they got into farmers only, and they realized like some of these farm boys have a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's like
we had basically Future Farmers of America was ag was a class in our high school, agriculture. So yeah, it was they knew what they were doing, because most of the people out there were just going to grow up and take over their parents' farms. So.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Fair.
I have, since I sold some.
Escala please says, have you seen the price of land lately? Like I keep linking properties. Yeah. Esca just keeps linking property. I think I may make that a Discord channel, just like cool properties. Just cool Zillow properties.
Brother's trying to sell his property now.
You do that, and then a scout just starts putting in like poorly designed homes.
Oh god.
Just because.
All right.
Find lost in the windows.
All right. So
videos of bad home inspections. Those are the fun parts, right? You go see those home inspectors come in and see something completely messed up in their house, and they're like, so you go see it happening in your house, and you go, oh.
So quick segment, real quick. I want to bring this up because this is good to me. I saw this today. I didn't see the other day. I want to read this. Oh yeah, IBM introduces new Diamondback tape library. Tapes, still the goat, baby. Tape library, still the goat. Magnetic tapes, it's still the goat.
Zoom in, enhance.
What
more? Enhance.
It's when I talk to some people in the IT space, and they sit there like, "Well, this is the future." And I keep going like, "I don't know, man." Tape backups are just like, it's a proven design. And I can really know if someone's trying to encrypt my tape library, because that tape machine starts moving really quickly, and it shouldn't. Why are some tapes moving? Turn that off. Stop that thing.
Yeah, but that's how it is. Sometimes innovation doesn't always lead to success.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Wii.
You mean Wii U?
No, I meant the motion controls for gaming, and that it was just a big fad, and then died a horrible death because it's terrible.
It's gonna no.
I don't think that's why it died a horrible death. It had horrible death because Nintendo didn't know what to do with it.
Oh no,
they
not just
they left
Nintendo.
it set.
Like there's the Kinect, which
Yeah,
is just
Kinect
a
was good for
webcam
yeah.
that was good for like the two things it was for, but it also didn't register anything 90% of the time.
Yes, people. All right, so no, like, all right, so the thing is with that was it was just more like also like the developers are also hard to control for that because if you're making a game for these controls, it's going to be a Nintendo exclusive because the other gaming
Yeah.
systems aren't having it, you know. That's the reason why like Meta has lost its effing shirt in freaking be in the VR space. One, they pissed off everyone in the VR space. They're outing. They came in with big D money, bought a lot of things up, claimed the word meta, claimed the word metaverse, and it's like that's cocky. It's a cocky name. That's a cocky thing because to everyone else there, like the metaverse was an idea, something like that, and you came in and just claimed it, you know. And no one really wanted to work with them, and the United States government was trying to just slapping them, and it was, and here they are, lost countless millions of dollars,
$700
million.
Yeah, and also when they did the conference, like, oh, we're working on legs. And the legs they showed in the conference weren't even from the program. They were pre-rendered legs.
Yeah, just
I'm reminded of the epic rap battles between Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, and just seeing what's going on now with both of those people.
Yeah,
one's a scam artist and one's a robot. Oh, who's the biggest scam artist alive?
One's a scam artist and one's a robot scam artist.
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Con man. Oh man, what's that spitting image? The Con Man song. I'm a con man. Or maybe I'm a god. Zooming around the planet in my hyperlooping car.
Demonetized right there.
I know, right? It's just like,
It wasn't on key enough. It's fine.
It was too close to the real.
God. Most people don't like that. Right on, you watch Spitting Image, right?
No.
Oh God, no,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I agree, Scourger. That is basically that is so much fraud.
Yeah. That's what like so like in the chat room, someone was like, "Oh man, this really cool like electric car truck company in Canada," and I was like, "Ah, cool. What's his name?" It's Nikola. Ooh, red flag.
Ooh, pass.
What? Naming your thing after famous inventors? Red flag.
Well, if it ain't Edison, we might be in business because they know how to do business at that point.
No, red flag. The other one from the Edison oven. No, you name your product after some old inventor that is dead. Red flag. It's an instant red flag.
Don't touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you said inventor. Edison wasn't an inventor. He's a stealer. So.
Wow.
You know, like Musk.
Oh, I was gonna. I thought you could say Bill Gates. Brandon's like, no, I need my Windows licenses.
6 on the Microsoft man. Okay.
Comes in tomorrow at work. He's like, oh no, all my licenses.
He comes in it's like, oh man, I can't get into any of these licenses. I have to buy an Xbox One for them to let me have it again.
It's like, we're only gonna let you use ME now, Reinhold.
I am one of the people who did use ME for a while. So that was fun.
Was it?
No.
No.
I think ME was probably the worst one. Yeah.
Oh, man,
I remember when XP came out, everybody was like, this looks like Tinker Toys. This is so many colors. It's too colorful. Blah blah blah. All the icons are so minimized and childish. That sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And then by the time Windows Vista comes out, they're like, man, it should be like XP. XP was great, wonderful. It's like you were crapping on it like 5 years ago. What are you talking about?
It's nostalgia, bro.
Hey, Vista's problem, right? Was the problem? It was just too soon. People's CPUs wasn't really ready for it. The minimum specs for Vista was way too low. That was Vista's problem.
They were doing all that Arrow stuff, and it was real pretty. It was eye candy, but you had to turn it off if you didn't have a nice computer. So
yeah, that's why like people was like, oh, I can't believe like Windows 8 is like, I had a really nice computer with Windows 8. Like I upgraded to Windows 8 and built the computer purposely for Windows 8, and I effing loved my Windows 8 machine. You know, my wife refuses to go to Windows 10 because she likes Windows 8 that much. She's like, I'm staying in Android. I'm like, you can't stand on Android. Yes, I can. This is fine. I've got this. I've got a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse. This is my new computer. I'm just like, all right. This is especially like once like because it all started when I showed her how she could screen mirror her to the TV. She's like, oh, I'm good. This is all I need.
Well, everybody complained about the start menu on Windows 8. I'm like, you guys, this is so much better. Because you remember Windows 7, Windows 7 XP, that sort of thing. You had to hit the start button, and it would do the flyouts and the flyouts. I had to build those all the time. It was had to read through the hard drive just to build it. It's like Windows 8. You take the games that you want, you throw it onto the main screen, you hit start, boom, done. Out.
Yeah, through the charm menu, and you turn your charm menu into what everyone does anyways. It builds the little tiles to see the statuses. Like most people do that, go up to GitHub and pull some tile manager out. And it's like, so Windows 8, you just Windows 8 with extra steps. You know, I loved it. I hit my Windows button, bring up all my charm tiles. I can see the weather, the stock report. I can see things that are going on. I can look at my RSS feeds like, oh, another podcast came up. This TV, I can sit there and click on things, and then go to it. But no. I'm stuck here, with Windows 10 now. Yeah. All right. So this,
11.
So this is, No, I'm not going 11. I'm not going. I refuse. Windows has tricked me once. It's always you got to skip one.
You gotta wait.
You don't understand. Windows 10 was 2 already, so because they had the 2H ones that came out. So technically, this is like a third iteration.
Yeah. But I was also bought on the idea when they said Windows 10 was going to be the last Windows. Okay.
Oh yeah, we're not doing any more Windows. Windows 10, we're just going to keep building on it. Oh, here's Windows 11.
Which I kept thinking.
Meanwhile, in the server space, now we have Windows 2022, or
for servers.
2019, 2022 is out now. Everybody's wanting it. It's like,
I know. Yeah, that's okay. Make you feel any better? I'm still supporting Windows 2008.
If you want to feel any better, I've got people who I potentially work with who are still migrating from Windows 2003.
Oof. All right, I feel slightly better. All right, so this is so if you go into your YouTube or browser choice, you also look up this thing called Elon Musk Con Man from the TV show Spitting Image, where they take like little puppets and
it was the people who did Genesis video, those guys, right? Yeah, I remember that. Okay. I know they're still doing stuff like that. We can't hear it, by the way. So.
That's fine.
No, man, it's probably better that way.
Oh yeah, it'd probably be like super copyrighted. You don't need it.
Don't forget to show the ERB, Zuckerberg. And
what? No,
because the guy who does Zuckerberg is so good because he literally will not blink during the whole thing. It's hilarious. He's like, you can't sneak up on Zuck. I don't even fucking blink.
Nice, Peter.
Yeah, fine. I'll look it up.
I'll look it up.
Very funny.
He's like, fine.
Oh, why is it so loud? Yeah, is this what you wanted?
Yeah. His eyes, man, is the best.
All right.
Yeah.
That's enough for YouTube to copyright us. It's good.
I know, like, don't copyright me, bro. Don't copyright.
Oh, come on! There are people out there who react to these things, man. Don't play the whole video and they talk about it.
But usually it's mirrored, so it's not as easy to see.
Yeah. No. Most people don't mirror anymore.
Yeah, I got to make it.
Most people don't even follow the 10-minute rule for TV shows and movies. I've seen people go past that. There's this one new channel who's doing movies, and they're literally doing like 25 minutes of the movie. So depends on who you get in good with, I guess, at YouTube.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're
It
making
really,
them money,
really is.
if you're bringing in ads, they don't care much.
Yeah.
They give you a lot of leeway.
Yeah. But that's all it is. It is, Anyways. So
Harry won't let me do reactions. So.
you could do reactions on the Reinhold show. Okay. Right. You do all the reactions you want on the Reinhold show.
Because I put out one episode of my show in 2013, and I haven't put out a second one, does not mean that I'm not working on it.
You and Ryan Johnson's trilogy.
Every 10 years, I'll put out an episode.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We,
So
well,
like
honestly, you need to put your next episode needs to be like directed by your friend. Okay, Empire Strikes Back.
Yes, Ace. I agree. Reinhold reacts to Gundam.
Oh God.
I was trying to get something like that going where we're talking about these shows. We could just show the shows to each other, but no.
What show? What you want to do? We could go through it like one time and like sit there, like do like small clips, like a clip show on it. Like we'll concentrate on one segment, get it built up. I think it'd be easier to do once the studio's all built up and the machine and everything is sitting there and we're all in one spot. This way we're not trying to like send audio to us, send audio there. Correct. We can send audio through the headphone jack and push it up to the microphone jack on the mixer board. 10 times easier.
That on here, just with like here, you get the video going and we got the audio and good to go.
They want to talk to you, man. Why are you running away?
Probably wants me to work out.
Well, Abracadabra, I can actually use that concept that you said there to jump to actually a Halloween-based conversation.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm going to talk about Junji Ito.
The what?
Because
what's a Junji Ito?
Junji Ito is a horror manga writer who is profoundly disturbing when he writes. And the reason I'm going to use Metamorphosis as a jumping on point is because one of his mangas is based off of Kafka's Metamorphosis, where a girl ends up slowly becoming a slug in comparison to a roach. For people who don't know Junji Ito, as a man, he is very wholesome and kind, and is a genuinely pleasant man, while all of his stories are horrifying and psychologically draining. One of the ones that most people know about is the Mountain of Holes, in which
keep this family rated.
Oh, I am. In which a mountain appears with holes in them, and people feel like they're being called to the holes, that hole is made for them, and everybody tries to prevent them from going, but it's made for me. It's calling for me. This is my hole. And then they force themselves in the hole, and when they come out the other end, they're changed, and their body is like crushed and disformed because they forced themselves through this hole because that's what it was calling to them.
All right.
Yeah. So his artwork is, God damn it.
What?
Fucking Abracadabra.
That's just like the plot to like every hentai I've ever read, Vincent.
It's terrible.
He's got a point.
It's terrible. This is a mountain that, to the point where people, once the mountain is on, like one of the main characters sees it on the television, and they just can't stop thinking about it because they start hearing a noise. It's literally like it's physically calling to them to go to this hole. in the mountain that fits only them. His art is very profound and very much satire of parts of the Japanese culture. There's a series of one, I can't remember, I believe it's Tammy or something along those lines, where it's this girl who is profoundly beautiful, but and that beauty lures in these people to basically try to date her or do more than that with her, and usually it ends with her consuming them in some way, shape, or form. After they've done something profoundly horrible to her because they felt jealous of her beauty or like not as good enough because of her beauty or how amazing she is.
So you're back on that 4 stuff.
Not quite. not quite that level of consuming them.
What I'm hearing is this is intriguing, the type of writing you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering if you would compare that with the work done by author Clive Barker. Do you know Clive Barker?
I know of Clive Barker. I haven't read any of his stuff directly.
Mm-hmm. There's a reason why his stuff doesn't really get made to movies very well. Because there's things you can't show on the TV screen, the movie screen. It's just not happening. And some of the stuff in these books is just like jaw dropping. And like even Stephen King has gone, what? And he did. I mean, he's had a couple things successfully turned into movie franchises like Hellraiser.
Mm-hmm.
But even Hellraiser was such a tamed down, saccharine version of what he wrote.
Right.
So there's a new version of it coming out supposedly next year that's much more closer in line with the original books. And we'll see how that goes. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it or not. But it sounds like what you're saying, because all of his stuff is very re-examining the nature of humanity, beings, that sort of thing, where, I mean, it's not exactly like Lovecraft or something like that. It's more just the base nature of humans and how it can transform what a human is into other things because of all this experimentation and religion and everything else that they do.
Right. I'm actually currently posting some images in the Discord as spoiler warning, so people who don't want to look at it don't have to.
That's good.
But his artwork is profoundly disturbing. It's actually to a point where the artistry is hard to animate because of it. You can definitely feel you can definitely feel that there's a bit of like a Geiger-esque feel to some of the art as well.
Geiger. Sorry, in my head I went Guyver.
That's fair.
Geiger.
But yeah, his artwork is very well done. By the way, it's not Tammy, it's Tomie, Tomie. And it's all of his artwork has a message to it, but it's always very disturbingly presented. The snail one I talked about, the actual premise is that this girl is kind of like a social outcast, and she comes home and sees her parents crushing all these slugs that are in their yard. They're like, and she's asking them why they're killing the slugs. The slugs are good for the environment. And they're like, yeah, we like the slugs, but not in our garden. We don't want the slugs here. They need to be somewhere else. And when the girl starts to realize that she is attracted to another girl, her tongue becomes a slug. And it becomes this sense of her trying to hide the slug that is now her tongue. And when her parents find out that she has this slug, all they try to do is kill the slug in whatever way they can. But all they're doing is harming her as a person, to the point where they put her in a bath full of salt. That salt kills slugs.
Yeah.
And the only thing that's remaining is her head, in which the snail crawls out of her mouth and uses her head as a shell.
I don't know.
By the way, I love the juxtaposition of talking about this while we're watching.
Yeah. Animal Crossing, yeah. Exactly.
Harry play Animal Crossing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Halloween's all about.
All right. Well,
It's the dichotomy of Halloween.
Yeah. I remember you bringing that snail thing up before, and it
it's
not
awful.
off air, but it's just like, oh my god,
It's awful. I know, but it's the imagery of it is really, really dark. But it's his artwork is meant to invoke those feelings that you don't forget it, while he talks about things that are societal. You know, the slugs in that story, the slugs is homosexuality. And the parents are fine with it as long as it's not in their garden. And they try everything they can to get rid of it, to the detriment of their daughter, until it becomes too detrimental to her.
Yep, it is. Yeah.
And in and of itself, if you're not looking that deep into it, you just see the body horror and the weird, and why is this girl's tongue a snail, and why is it so intricately drawn that the snail like is where her tongue should definitely be, and it's like attached to her mouth on the inside.
Yeah. So if anyone was wondering if this Vincent just read this stuff just for the podcast, or he does it for his own sick self, just his own sick self.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong.
You know, so yeah. He's another reason why, as we build out the new studio, where we're going to have a limit on how many books people can bring in or out of the studio, so it doesn't turn into like a temporary library.
Whoa. I have a whole spare room. That'll be my own library. Thank you.
Yeah. You'll fill that out quickly. It's probably almost full. Okay. All
right. I have a digital library, sir. Don't have to take up the space.
Yeah. So, anyways, with the new studio, so Reinhold, you didn't get I told this on to Vincent yesterday. So, like, I was talking to got to talk to Cheerleader on Saturday. Spent the day with him as we're setting things up. Because I had to go to his house, pick up a couple of things, and bring it to bring the house to set up. And while we're
you mean your leader had you toting and hauling stuff around for him, like you were, in his employ, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But you didn't get paid for it, but it was work that you did for him.
Yeah, a lot of work, unpaid work, unpaid rent on the studio.
I thought that was all taken care of because the naming rights are sold.
He has gotten paid, but I, as the land owner, I have received $0.00.
Nothing to make a person switch from being a left libertarian to a right libertarian than having property and not getting paid for it.
Yes, it's an unpaid internship.
Am I sending him invoices and every month? Heck yes. Well, will ever put a lien against the company if he makes enough money and the lien's worth it? Heck yeah, I will. And it's like boom, lien. And I've got to do the invoice just in case anything happens for insurance reasons. It's got to look like, I wasn't just storing stuff here. Who's paying me? It's a business. I need this. I'm going to get this on my business insurance. Anyways, well, when I was talking to him over, so with this show, with all you people tuning in and watching this, Dearly was looking at the analytics of it, and he from us doing this show convinced him to actually help pay for the internet access over at the studio so we can actually go back to doing wall live instead of fake live, like those fake live show he's been doing. So thank you. I want to thank each and every one of you guys who download this podcast, who watch us live. You helped get us over across the line to going back to doing a full live show instead of the other live show, because it's just enough. It's just enough to make it worth it. So thank you. I want to thank you.
If he according to Abigail Bro, if he podcasts for 30 days or more, he technically becomes a squatter.
Yeah, but I deal with squatters differently than most people on the news. I don't call the news for help to get rid of squatters.
Call Lou Rockwell; he'll come out and take care of it for you.
No. All I need is the police to tell me that. So I own this house. You sure do. You just remove the doors and windows. And then you start painting.
Power.
No. I'm just keeping power. I want this full electrified. I don't want him stealing my copper out of the walls. You remove the doors and windows so the air is just flowing through, and then you just start painting. Full latex. Just start painting. And then you glaze the tubs. You glaze. Send the glazers in. There's people living here. I don't care. I'm not paying you for those. I don't know those people. They're squatting. Glaze the tub. Glaze the tub. Trust me, they won't be there once you start glazing the tub. It's like, time to resand the floors at 3 a.m.
Absolutely, especially at 3 a.m. 3 a.m. is the best time.
Yep. What? You're not supposed to be here.
What? You didn't know that I had my weekly 3 a.m. sanding? What is wrong with you?
Yeah. But also, like I will say, so renting in the county that the studio's in is terrible. That's another reason, when people want to ever just rent it out to renters, it's because the judges in that county is terrible. It is a very common place, and if you don't believe me, I can show you the courthouse. You can go down there and you can sit there and you can watch people get before the eviction court, where the people go, "Oh no, you've had a tough life. You had a hard time. How about this? If you can get out in 90 days, I'm going to reduce what you owe on this rent. But you got to get out within 90 days." Happens all the time here in that county. It is awful. It is terrible.
90 days of them risk-free destroying everything that's there.
And demanding that you fix things as a landlord. You must fix things.
I have a story from somebody who's a friend of mine who had doing the landlord business for a while. Mm-hmm. He got called by the police to come out to his house that he was renting.
Yeah.
And they asked, because they wanted to, kind of let him know what was going on, because they had raided the house. Apparently, he walks in and finds out that they have basically put 1.5 feet of dirt throughout the entire house and was growing pot there.
Oh, wow.
Oof.
It's like I said, it's like landlords go through some crap. Not every, and are there bad landlords out there? Heck yeah, but some renters out there
there's also a lot of landlords who are just jaded and tired of getting taken,
Oh yeah, taking advantage. Yeah, taking advantage of going to the cleaners. This is when people go it's the main reason why people go I can't find any houses or things to rent that let me take pets. And it's because before you, someone had 15 dogs in a tiny little apartment and destroyed it, or they heard that horror story of someone doing that and destroying a house. So they're like, no pets, never again. That's not happening, Yeah, It's those things. It's but most of those happen because like a lot of people do like this the short leases because one it's kind of sometimes it's kind of hard to find a renter who wants to do like a long-term rent agreement, and then also landlords who want to give out a long-term rent agreement. I think if our society went more to like your rental agreements are closer to like 5 years or something like that, I think probably a lot of it would go down like because of like. A lot of people could trash the house if they have the mentality in 6 months they're gone, or they can be kicked out in 6 months.
Yeah, the what was big when I was younger was there was a lot of people doing rent to own, and that's like you're letting the person think they're building equity into possibly purchasing the house. Therefore, they're going to be more likely to take care of it. Now, most of them didn't, or the interest rate would. If you calculate it out, was incredibly high. But people who are doing rent to own are people who aren't necessarily going to get a good bank loan. You know what I'm saying? So if they could, I mean, there was a time where it was not so easy to go get a house loan. You could just walk in there and say, "Yeah, I want one," and they'd say, "Okay, give us 2% of the down payment, and you're good to go." It's like, you had to have like 10-15% to put down just to even talk to them.
Reinhold, history started in 2008. Okay, no one wants to talk about life.
Prehistory, the olden times.
Yeah, well, because because at that time, like the interest rates on mortgages were super high at the time. So it's versus now, like it's like a lot of people complain like how hard it is to get a house now. It's like it is nothing comparatively. Comparatively, especially the 80s, like there's like they're wanting 20% down, and I'm like, if you can't put 20% down on a house, maybe you shouldn't be buying this house, or you're buying too much house. What? I want this house. Do you need a $400,000 house? Also,
have you heard about living within your means?
Yeah, you said that they're like rolling the down payment back into the loan now for people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can put 20% down, but then you can borrow that 20% and we'll roll it back in as a loan on top of it. And I did something similar to that. My first house when I bought it was for my second house.
When I went to
but it was a what were the kind of loans where it's like 4 or 5 years and then it's a balloon payment at the end, right? Yeah, so a balloon payment type of loan.
Yeah. Well, like when I went to refinance this house, they were going like, we'll take your closing cost and we'll throw it in on the loan, right? And I'm just like, okay, let me see the paperwork on it first. And I noticed it because the thing had like several different well, your interest rate for the mortgage is this, but for that closing, that's at 8%. What? No, I got cash.
Oh, and to get off of the house for just a second. Yeah. When I went to buy this car recently, I hadn't bought a new car for a long time. Mm-hmm. And I think it was 2003. It was the last time I bought an actual new car. And I'm in there and they're talking about, here's these add-ons you can get, right? You can get the package, the Z-Bar package, which I looked at. It was great. I was like, okay, mm-hmm. I like this package. It's actually a good deal because if you get it from them, it's free lifetime reapplication as opposed to if you buy it directly from Z-Bar, you have to pay every year for that. So they're picking that cost up. So I'm like, well, this makes sense. It's like, yeah, we can load that into the loan and you can pay. I'm like, whoa. No, I'll write you a check. We can do this now. You're not rolling it into the loan. So this $1,000 spend I'm getting ready to do is going to cost me $3,000 at the end of the day. I'm not doing that, Mm-hmm. So that was the kind of thing you had to catch them because they were trying everything. You get all these packages as add-on insurance, things like that. So I'm like, no, we're good. Just no. And that I'll take, but I'm paying cash for. Everything else is I'm doing is the loan. And the only reason I did the loan instead of paying cash for it is because the interest rate was less than what the inflation rate is right now. So
that's fair. So I want to read out.
I'm seeing the interest rates are coming out now. I got in like at the tail end of these good interest rates. They're going up. It's like twice what I was paying for it for mine.
That's exactly what I was about to read out here.
So you want to bring it right?
Mm-hmm. Abracabro, but basically did a sales pitch for Junji Ito. It's like it's a mix of Cronenberg body horror. A lot of his stories deal with young people confused about body anatomy, as well as a mix of Lovecraftian eldritch horror, particularly things like lapsing sanity, the unknown, and strange cult behavior.
Not anatomy. You said anatomy, but it's autonomy. It's a little bit of a different thing. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, it's all of Junji Ito's stories, even some of the weaker ones, are really worth reading because they're very well done. And if you can deal with the horrible imagery that some people can't deal with, because like, you know, the tryptophobic stuff where there's holes in people's bodies and stuff like that, it's a great read, and his art is impressive, especially for this guy whose personality in interviews, he's just a very kind and gentle man and like very soft spoken. And then you look at, you know, this person, this woman has 8 heads with spider legs crawling out of them.
You know, that creepy stuff.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's plenty of. It's Halloween. That's what Halloween.
What's cool about Halloween too, for me, when I watching I realize the 5 things. Yep, Hellraiser is messed up. And also Clive Barker did Candyman too. If you like Candyman, it's a scary bit of a movie. But a lot of people are doing reactions to horror movies now. Because this time of year it's called Halloween, you know, that sort of thing. So do Halloween reactions and get scary movies that they've never seen before and kind of freaking out about it. And there's one guy I like watching. He's basically a film student, but he's not seen a lot of old movies, so he's just going through a list instead of for his career. He's trying to learn all about all these movies. And somebody finally, and he had a poll out in his Patreon. And I had been trying to get him to watch this movie for a long time. He finally did. It's called Jacob's Ladder. And Jacob's Ladder is one of the movies that my wife can't watch. She loves horror movies, but she cannot watch that one because it reminds her too much of things that she actually sees. But it is such a messed up mind twist of a movie. The imagery is great. The where's this going is great, you know. And, you know, he was able to figure out the twisty, you know, the ending and everything like that, which is okay. I mean, it's not hidden to you. they spell it out, but it's still a rough ride to get to the end of that one. So,
yeah, like horror in general it feels like it's slowly becoming like a lost art, because a lot of like the movies is very much a jump scare fest.
Yeah,
and then like that's what they believe horror is.
I try to get people to watch the original Saw, because that is literally one of my favorite horror movies ever made. And everybody's like, well, it's torture porn. And I'm like, no, this is not. Saw is not torture porn.
The other ones are later.
Some of them jump into that territory, but they all have an interesting story behind it. And the fact that he makes these traps for people, but everybody can get out of the traps. They just have to transcend what it is that he sees as their flaw. Right. So you have people who can escape. And if I don't know if you've seen some of the later movies, but there's a really cool twist on what happened with the guy from the Carrie Elway's character from the first movie. It's just, he comes back because you find out he survives. Spoiler alert. Should spoil that one. But so he comes back for a later movie where he's dealing with people who have survived. You know, he's like doing a group trying to give them all sanity back. And, he's walking around with, you know, no foot. So, but the ending of that movie, the first Saw movie, nobody saw coming. I don't know anybody who says they saw the end of that coming. Sorry, you're lying. You're a lying sack of shit.
Lying, yeah, lying, yeah.
It was so well done. And Tobin Bell was actually, oh man, it's just. He's coming back for the next Saw. They're actually coming back with the new Saw movie next year. Tobin Bell's coming back for it. I don't know how they're going to do it because his character died in the third one, you know. But we'll see how that goes. It's going to be good. But those are my types of movies because the psychological horror, and to me, is much more visceral than just seeing gross stuff on screen or um, jump scares. I don't really have a
Right.
big deal about jump scares. Gross stuff is just gross stuff. Saw has gross stuff in it, but it serves the psychological part of it. The chance of having your head basically ripped in half by reverse bear trap. I mean, that's scary. That's thinking about that and what you would do to survive that, and what he puts the person through to do it, and she survives it. That's what I liked about that movie.
Right. It's
like not
looking,
Hostel, where Hostel is just people getting ganked and tortured. But
yeah, it's like looking at the Friday the 13th series, where the first one has a completely different feel to the rest of them, because it was much more of a slow burn, and it wasn't unstoppable killing machine going through killing people.
The killer wasn't the mother.
Exactly.
So.
But yeah,
and the first what was it? First Halloween? What was it? Which
Michael
one was
Myers?
That? Yeah, first Michael Myers one. That was kind of a weird one. And I always had an affinity for Nightmare on Elm Street, not because I thought they were really any good, but Robert Englund played that character so well and hilarious that you couldn't help but rooting for him almost. You know what I'm saying? I know he's the character's a pedophile and all that stuff, but still, it was funny.
Welcome to prime time,
right? And I feel like that kind of horror, with it being more psychological, is why stuff like the Call of Cthulhu became so big, like the board game Call of the role playing game Call of Cthulhu. Because it's that existential cosmic horror that is something that is hard to completely understand. And while it does have the gross out or the murdery, gory parts of it, a lot of it's psychological. There's a reason why you have to roll for sanity to keep your sanity in check.
Yeah.
Or
in defense of Paranormal Activity and jump scares. Like, I enjoy the Paranormal Activity thing, but it is what it is. Like, is this thing scary? No, it's just jump scary. It's the jump.
What do you think about The Ring?
What the
American version?
Oh,
the American version. So I don't think I've seen the original.
It was okay.
I mean,
okay,
it's not jumpy scary in my opinion. It's a really kind of like, what would you do? And then there's a story behind it that why this is going on that I really kind of was intrigued with on that first one. But in the end of the day, it was more of a slow burn, kind of occasional horror, a little creepiness, but it wasn't top of my list.
And somebody follows, like it follows.
Somebody reacted to Blair Witch Project, and I remember when that came out, people were freaking out about that movie.
Thought it was real.
And I went to go see it, and I was like, but that was the thing. They did such a good marketing campaign where they did a whole documentary that was on Sci-Fi Channel, and you could go to a website and see all these stories and stuff. So people were like, is this real? This is real stuff, right? Yeah. So once you know that conceit, it's kind of like me. Yeah. I actually found that the second one much more scary because some of the mind tricks that were going on inside of it, where people were seeing different things than what was being filmed on the camera. Like you see the camera of what's happening, and it's not what you were seeing them seeing and reacting to. And it was a interesting examination of how your mind can trick you and lead you to believe something else is going on.
I'm actually not that big of a fan of like horror movies and the horror genre. It's not my big thing.
I don't crave it. I occasionally will watch a good scary movie if I hear it's good, but or if it's an author I like. If I see a new Clive Barker stuff come out or Stephen King that's good, based off a good story, I might jump into it. But
like horror is a very hard genre to keep consistent, especially with things outside of movies. Like in games horror is so hard to keep consistent because I think like you could maybe argue Resident Evil 7 was horror, but it's hard to say because it was a different take on it. Or like Alien Isolation, which is more of a suspense and you're trying not to startle the alien who has such high intelligence that you have to, that if you make a noise, it will stalk the area that you were in because the AI knows better.
Hmm.
They built it like a learning AI that learns your gameplay patterns.
Well, Resident Evil 6, that was scary, right?
That wasn't horror.
Yeah, it was.
That was the most
the
popcorn
the horror
action
of
film.
the horror of the controls, the horror of the writing,
the horror of the P&G
Bad
food
acting.
on the table.
So as far as marketing goes, you remember the Silent Hill demo that came out that never got made,
yep.
but the PT, everybody was freaking out about this thing. It's just like, I think that it built upon the lore of it, like this is a thing that they're going to take away. It's really too scary for people, and people buy into that, and that's I think
it's very unsettling. Even if it wasn't the most scary thing, it was unsettling, and they did a lot of little things, or it makes you question your own sanity because you're going through the same corridor over and over and over again. That's just slightly different each time. So you're just like, when is the thing going to happen next? Or am I playing the game right? Am I doing the right thing?
Was it like this before, and I just didn't see that part?
Exactly. It makes you question
wondering
yourself.
if your mind's playing tricks on you.
Mm-hmm. But
I saw the last last Resident Evil 7, I think it was. I saw people playing it. I'm just like, it's not scary.
Oh, that was 8. 8 was the most recent one.
Where you switch to bodies and you can play different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In the most recent one, they kind of tried to mash the action back into the series. In comparison to 7, was much more slow paced and a lot more. You basically can't really stop this unstoppable guy that's coming after you, and you kind of have a feeling of you're not gonna win here. It actually gives you that feeling of horror and helplessness, even though you can fight back.
If you want horror, though, if you can find the right writer who writes really good horror, that can mess with your head. Like I remember I was reading a book, and it was The Langoliers by Stephen King, which got made into a movie. But I'm seriously halfway through this book, and I'm at that time working a second shift job where everybody's gone, and I'm just kind of doing operations for them. And it's like after dark, and I'm reading this book, and all of a sudden I just kind of get up and look around and went, "Oh, I need to put this book down for a minute." It really started messing with me and what I was seeing, and everything. That was a good one.
In the internet era, the internet age, there's plenty of like people who write it on their own. They find like the creepypastas or just the horror stories written online, like the r/no sleep, which in its bubble of the subreddit, you're supposed to believe everything they write is real, and that's when you walk in, that's what you're doing.
The closest thing I've seen to like a good new genre type of horror, I mean, a lot of people are doing this true crime stuff, new horror stuff, where they make this story and then they twist it and then they tell it as it's a real story on YouTube, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. But there was a couple years ago, I'm trying to remember what it was called, but it was basically this guy who was filming and saying like, the sun's gone. Right. And where did the sun go? I can't remember the name of what it was called at the time, and I haven't been able to find it since. But it was an interesting where he was filming for weeks and weeks and weeks. He was filming this saga of him dealing with not being able to contact anybody, and how he's running and is hearing noises and things are happening around it. And it was really good filming. And then all of a sudden it just stops.
Right.
And it's just like, okay, this was very well done and inventive. This guy should have a job making horror movies.
Right, like
who was this and what's going on with this? I want to know the story. I haven't heard anything about it since then. I don't know who did it or what was going on with it or why or any of that stuff. So
the reason the Slender Man became even popular at all was because of Marble Hornets and the way they made the YouTube series that made Slender Man actually seem scary and mysterious. And it wasn't until, the internet did the internet thing and made it not scary at all. But
people think Mothman is a real. I think when you think that this stuff is real, when they can convince you that this is possibly happening, that's when they get you. That's when they can then subvert everything.
Right,
If you're going into it knowing that this is just, it's, I can see the
Like,
wires. This is fake. It's like,
like
Yeah. So was that like an ARG you was looking at, Reinhold?
I don't
No,
think
it
it
was
was
just
an
a-
ARG.
it was just
I
a
think
guy
it was
on
just a guy
YouTube.
making a video. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a guy on YouTube who would post every so often saying, I don't have much battery left, and here's what I'm seeing. And the sun hasn't been out for like 7 days now, and these people are moving here and doing this. What's going on in the rest of the country? I haven't heard from anybody. And the way he was doing the videos and everything was really creepy. Because you're like, is this happening somewhere that I don't know about? You know, or they've somehow blocked the sun or something.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
really weird.
Right. You ever heard of the
weird.
channel Night Mind? Something like that?
Mm-mm.
All right. I'll change
And
some links.
while you're doing that, like another great example of the internet making horror that's very compelling is the SCP stuff. SCP is basically just a community run thing where they basically create horror monstrosities, and they are basically a containment protocol. It's like they're working for the SCP company to prevent these anomalies from getting out and causing things to happen.
All right, hold on. I'm going to send it to you. Go ahead and take a look at it. I think I may have found what you were actually talking about and looking for.
Mm-hmm. He knows every SCP. Yeah, which is insane. Bye, Reinhold.
I don't know.
He disappeared. I don't know where.
Obviously, the Reinhold has vanished.
Yeah, but like SCP, Siren Head,
or is Reinhold is
he an
Reinhold
SCP? He got caught by Peanut.
Yeah.
On private chat, and all of a sudden it just went.
Oh, yeah. I dropped it in Discord. This way, this way Vincent can also see it.
Yeah.
Just in case it is what you're. Oh god.
Abracabro is talking about how her youngest kid researches all the SCP stuff and SCP and Siren Head and internet horror things that exist. And it's very interesting to see the community being able to create something and play off of each other. The SCP is basically, I create something and then somebody uses my creation as a variant of it to make their horror story. A great YouTube channel is Mr. Creepypasta, who he just reads horror stories. There's literally there's a story that I listen to about once a year because I love it so much that if I had if I had infinite money, my first goal would be making this story into a show. Because the way it's built the way it builds towards the end goal of it. It's called Baraska. And and once it hits this point where the plot turns and you find out, what's behind the thing that's killing the people, it just kind of shakes the foundation of the entire story you read up to this point. And every time I go back through it, I listen to it and I notice another thing that I didn't notice the first time because it all connects in some way, shape, or form.
So what you found was not the actual stuff, but it was a synopsis of what happened.
Correct. Yeah, that's what Nightmind does. He finds different things out there and helps curate it, so you can go. He talks about it, and if you want, you can jump into it.
So it's interesting because it does have a lot of information about how who the original person was and what was kind of the behind. Some people have done enough behind the scenes work into it. So I need to go look at that because it was really an intriguing thing because I got caught up in the middle of it as it was happening.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of these going on, and not a lot of
back rooms.
The backroom stuff that's going on. There's a lot of these ARGs and this stuff that are going on, but it's hardly like creation because a lot of people, if they're on the project to build a lot of things are hush hush because you're trying to keep that realism of it, and they don't really talk about it until the project is basically done because you're on like I'm working on one. I can't really tell you because I'm doing and it's really fun work I'm doing on it, and I really wish I could you have to see this, but the part of it I'm working on is I've
Right.
got to put you through this other set of clues so you get to my part.
Mhm.
And
I know you told me what your part is, so I'm not going to talk about it.
it is.
but it's insane.
I'm fantastic when people just like have like when the first one person found the thing, I was just like, oh my god, someone found it. Someone effing went through the effing clues and actually found this thing. You know, and you just let it go. And it's just this is a lot of fun.
Yeah, ARGs is another great way of that things are the horror is done now, where it's interactive and you everybody comes together and you have a community of people digging through things and finding information. Honestly, that's in my opinion, that's why Five Nights at Freddy's got as big as it did, because game theory made a theory and a bunch of people like the idea of there being all this extra hidden lore and all these other things that are happening that they all jump in and try to figure it out, like the YouTube series for the guy who did the game that they thought he found called Petscop, and it was like a PS1 game, and the guy puts playthroughs of it, and the game is always so weird and like bugs out, and it's actually like a massive narrative that's playing in the background that you have to like go through the files of it and the things that flash up on the screen and stuff like that. ARGs in general is a great way of to bring people together, and it's another new way of going about horror.
Yep. It's a fantastic time. I freaking love it. And right how like if you like want some, like Nightmind is a great channel to help you find some, and it'll curate them for you if you want.
The problem when I've watched a little bit of it while we're talking, and it's kind of that AI voice, the like scripted through the computer and it's talking. I can't do those. Those drive me crazy. So,
Right.
But the fact that he's got all the information on the page and I can go look at it, it's good too. I can watch a little bit here and there, but I can't. Heather watches some of those. The computer thing is reading out the script, and it's just like, kill me
that
now.
Mr. Creepypasta. He actually reads it in his normal voice, and it has guest readers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
She's really into Mr. Ballin, and I don't know how this guy blew up, but it's just like all he's doing is reading stuff, and it's just she watches Mr. Ballin and Bailey Sarian, of course. So, and both people, I don't find them entertaining to listen to tell a story, but apparently a lot of people do because they have millions of people watching her stuff now. So,
and interesting narratives are pull people in. And
so I was thinking I should do something like that where I just find all these stories and start reading them.
I mean, that's what happens.
Start doing my radio voice and do a really cool job of getting people into,
Yeah, and getting invested.
I try not to do the radio voice because it is way fake.
But it's very interesting when people do, put that effort in. When you find ones that people put the effort in and they actually care about the stories they're telling, and they try, and literally some of the videos I've seen. God damn it, Harry.
Well, this ARG is pretty good because this one's got like actual like corporate backing, and it's really good.
Yeah. Like when they're trying, like I know one of them, he has like 4 or 5 different people on it voicing different characters in a manner that makes everything flow together. It's some of the stories are just good. Some of them are actually unsettling and creepy, and some of them, like one of the stories is a long form one, which it's much more grounded but insane. Basically, these 2 friends are kind of realize that they're not getting enough out of life, so they make a bet. They go, "You make me give my best life, and I do the same for you." And one of the dudes takes it way too far by stealing his stuff and basically putting him into adversity so that way he would grow because he's not trying. So I'm going to force you to try. because they dared each other to ruin each other's life to make them better.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah.
does it.
Well, on that note, not to ruin everyone's sleep, mostly mine, I need to get to bed. I also need to light a candle and wish my grandmother a happy birthday, because it's her birthday today. So I get to go do that. So before this episode gets too long in the tooth, I want to thank everyone for listening to this episode. You could be listening to anything else in the world, but you are here watching this show, and I want to thank you, double thank you, because you're all the listeners of this podcast is helping getting the big show back to its proper form on live shows. So double thank you. So thank you for watching this Halloween episode, and have a good night. Bye, everybody. You two say goodbye.
Halloween.